Hey there everybody, and welcome back to Sasquatch Speaks. I'm Sasquatch, otherwise known as Gavisas, welcoming you back, and hoping you all will enjoy yourselves very much this day, and others into the future. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, and hopefully you'll all be very entertained both now and in the future. So, the last few days, I'm going to do a little bit of update here, because that's originally what this whole thing was intended for, not actually to be, a recurring show. As it has become, but to give you kind of an update on things that are going on my channel, very quickly. First and foremost, thank you everyone who has suffered through the last few days of me just complaining about everything I could possibly think of, and there's actually more that I could have thought of and could have devoted much more time and effort to grousing about, but decided that 6 or 7 or however many days it was more than enough. And I didn't need to continue subjecting you all to my inner complaining. Anyway, a couple things aside from that. Today we're actually going to be launching a new series. Not really a series, but a stream of focus. I'm hoping to get about 6, maybe 7 days out of it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have enough things written down to get 6 days out of it, so we'll see how that works. And next Sunday, I'm thinking of doing something else, but we will find out if that ends up happening at that time. I'm going to do a little bit more thinking on it, considering it, seeing if it'll work, and other things. Anyway, to the main topic. I apologize to everyone who sat through all of that and got nothing out of it, really. So, today's topic and tomorrow's topic, and at least the day after that, if I just run through this ever so quickly and have no sense of time or stopping or anything else like that, is submitted to us, or submitted to me, by Lieke. He has a YouTube channel, which there's a link to in the description. Oh, by the way, it reminds me, description. Today will be the last day that there's a link to last Thursday's video, which kind of gives everyone an update on why I'm doing these as opposed to gameplay, which is which is what I was basically doing mostly on my channel up until about a week ago, or a week ago last Thursday. Yeah. So this will be the last day. There's a link back to that. So, hopefully everyone is apprised of this, and there will be no longer any surprises to people who just kind of come in and be like, hey, I thought this was a gameplay channel. Where's all the gameplay? Well, this is your last chance. And if you don't get it, I'm sorry, but, you will never hear this anyway. Anyway. So yes, submitted to us by Lieke. He is Reverend Lieke, or Lieke Wolframite. However you want to put that on youtube.com, / things that, like I said, there's a link in the description. You can find him there. He does a lot of very interesting Let's Plays. He's doing one right now on Monster Hunter 1, which is pretty good. I'm seeing a lot of it makes me very thankful seeing his Let's Play. I mean, I've seen a Let's Play of it before with from Prince Boo, if you know who that is. There will not be a link to his channel. But it makes me very thankful just how much the gameplay and all the mechanics have progressed since that very early time. Because obviously we have just so much more forgiveness for just bad gameplay, which is my biggest problem. He also just finished up Dark Souls 2 DLC, Legend of Treasure, or some Treasure of the Sunken King, and he just started a Fable Let's Play, which has my attention, because Fable was one of those games that I really wanted to play when it first came out, and just like it never got around to it, or had the wrong system, or whatever it was. I forget all of my reasonings, but I had them, and so I didn't play it. So I'm finally getting to get a little bit of a spot in on his, or at least on that game. And he's a very interesting fellow, and fairly entertaining to listen to, so I recommend go checking him out. If you have not yet already. In which case, what are you doing with your life? No. Anyway, so the topic which he says some words, things, stuff. The topic which he suggested to me, and it's just also something you can do if you have something you'd like me to talk about or expound on or just throw random opinions at and make people angry, you can either do that in the comments down below, or my email is gavisas@gmail.com, or on Twitter at @gavissas with underscores in between all of those 3 words. And yeah, that's a thing you could do. It'd be very helpful perhaps in the future. I mean, I have this week and probably next week planned out, but in the future beyond that, it will definitely come in handy. To wit, the topic, as we are now 5.5 minutes into this video, and I still have not gotten even telling you what it is the topic is, he asked me to go over some of my gaming experience. I mean, going back to, like, when I first started out, and I was a little tyke, and, just try and bring up to date, like, what my experiences were, what my thoughts are, what I see going on in the future, or just in the industry as a whole. Just giving me all kinds of thoughts and ideas to throw at that. So, without further ado, let us begin. When I was a mere lad, a young boy of, let me see, that first, well, we all have that first gaming experience, I think, when we're really young, and it's probably different nowadays because there's like phones and there's such a wide availability of gaming devices in terms of video games. I mean, there's all these board games and stuff like that I do still play occasionally with the rest of my family. But in terms of actually getting behind a video game machine, that would have probably been when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and someone took me to an arcade, and it's just so wild and fun and bright flashing lights and all the loud noises and just so cool, and the driving games and going off course and running into bad obstacles and everything like that. And it just kind of gets you into that mindset, like, okay, well, this is a really cool thing. I wish I could take this home with me. But of course, as only like a 2 or 3 year old kid, you're going to be very hard pressed, especially in my family. It might be part of my upbringing as to why I don't just go out and buy every new thing that comes out. In that, part of how I was brought up is that we didn't do that. We thought about it, we considered it, we earned the money for it first, and then we went and we bought it. Credit cards were not and are still not our primary source of payment for anything. We have some for like emergencies, or if you have to rent a car or something, or go to a hotel because you have to have one nowadays, but other than that, we don't use them. And as a financial, I wouldn't say expert, and I can't say advisor because I don't have the license to say that, but as a guy who understands finance and works in that industry, I would recommend that you follow that. Personally, I would recommend that you follow that advice as well. Credit cards are some of the slippish, are probably the slipperiest slope that you can come into in, I would say, I'll say America because that's the only place I know of for certain, but I would assume that it also proves very true in other parts of the world as well, and that you don't want to get caught up in all manner of debt at any point in your life, and it's something to be avoided at all cost. Which is kind of interesting because it does cost you quite a bit of money to get out of debt. But that's not the point of this video at all. The point of this, I apologize, I get off on tangents so quickly and so easily. No, the point of this is, like I said, I got introduced at that very young age to I think, like I said, I think my first games were racing games and in arcades, and of course there was like Pac-Man, and there was the Star Wars game, and you got to fly the fighter around. You had the joystick, and you fought Darth Vader, and the controls on the fighting Darth Vader were so clunky you could never actually get past him for more than like 5 seconds, and he'd just kill you immediately. He's like, but I was doing so well. It's so frustrating. And then you get, like, I think that, of course, that was like the big one with like the heavy duty graphics of the time, and so you'd have to go back and get like another $1.50 to play it again. It's like, but it's still so cool. I want to play it more. And when I go to Cedar Point nowadays, I still make a point of going in and playing on their machine because they still have one. Last time I was there, because it's been a couple years, and playing on their machine because that's part of my childhood, man. It's like so cool, all the memories and the old times. But if I had stayed there, this channel would not exist at all. I would probably not be on the internet. I wouldn't know anything about anyone. I wouldn't. A great portion of my life would not be there. I mean, not to say that like video games are some sort of indispensable portion. I have intentionally gone like days and weeks and months without playing them before. Not recently, but it's something that I've done, and it's something that I expect I will do again in the future. I doubt I'll ever completely stop playing them, just because unless like some sort of physical malady takes over, like massive arthritis, and I can't even like curl my fingers, then yeah, that would probably end my video gaming career. But aside from that, I see it as something that I'm going to continue to do. It's something I enjoy doing. It doesn't hurt me in the slightest. So, and when you can get other people involved, it's just it adds a whole other dimension to it. Like, sure, board games are fun, and then there's something to be said for there. And like card games, I love card games. Usually, my granddad taught me how to play poker when I was 2 years old, and I mean, I'm passable. I'm certainly no like pro player or anything else like that, but my luck holds out long enough that I don't completely lose my shirt whenever I play. But in terms of, there's just something extra that's added in video games. And it's an old joke, but I think it holds true, especially here, in how that the only thing that life truly misses is background music. And video games, in terms of human interaction and being able to get together and have that one-on-one sort of confrontation, where it's not like a contest of life or death. Well, I guess some video games could be, but it's just that human interaction of like, I'm pitting my skills against yours or my luck or however you play it out, and it actually provides the background music. It's such a small thing that comes in there and back, and most people don't even recognize it. And I play with my sound off most of the time because I'm usually recording something or watching another video or something. But anyway, to be able to have that option to say like, yeah, it's life plus the background music. It's such a cool concept. And so as that young kid, I was just mesmerized by the concept and the ability to have that sort of interaction again. My big game was the Star Wars one, but again, I got into some other racing games, and a lot of kids who were in my early elementary school classes, we had like yearly meetups, because we were really close back then, and we'd meet up and go to the arcades, and we had this one place, I forget what it was called. I think it was called the Discovery Zone, and they had this one racing game there, and it was kind of like Mario Kart, but in that you had like weapons and you're racing, and you could like knock the other guy out of the race by hitting him with certain weapons. But it was more futuristic, kind of like, it had like F-Zero cars with Mario Kart themes. So it was kind of strange in that regard, but it was just one of those really fun games that I remember having so much fun playing with my friend, my best friend growing up. One of my best friends growing up, and just having that like I said, that interaction plus the background music. It was to me, it was the full package. And then of course, as I grew up, I found like, hey, you can actually play some of these things at home. And my dad went out and he bought me one of those old baseball machines. I mean, like the really old ones from like the 50s and the 60s. Just that chunky white plastic with little red dots on the blacked out screen. And if you just kind of had to hope you hit the buttons at the right time, and maybe you'd get a hit or not. And I played that thing for hours. I got really good. I beat every team they could throw against me in this very, very small, very outdated, very badly articulated game, but it was still just like something, okay, this is at home, this is mine. And then of course you have all the little cheap LCD games, and they're like 2 buttons plus a badly worked D-pad, and there's a ninja game, and Battleship, and all these other ones. They're just like little stepping stones along the way. I mean, just kind of like that's kind of the thing with video games. Board games are board games. They are what they are. Okay, there's a couple changes. There's a couple ones that have come out in the last few years that are a little different, but generally they stay the same. Video games mature with you. And I'm not saying like, oh, everything's rated M for mature, but I mean, there's enough variety in them that they can get that they draw you in when you're young. I mean, nowadays there's like Lego games, and all the little kids are playing those, and they're not playing them too long before they talk to their mom and dad and saying, "Hey, I could play this other racing game. It's very realistic. It's got it's crashes. Okay, well, cool. That looks really pretty, and that's really nice." And then as they get a little bit older, they get into some more of the story-driven games and the RPGs, and at least this was my progression. And I get into more of the RPGs, and then like the shooters and the more dark stories and espionage and the whole 9 yards. Right up until, well, again, my opinion is probably different than most people's, but like that pinnacle of Monster Hunter, where you have actually the archetypical pinnacle of video games is zombie hunting, or like Resident Evil, or probably not Resident Evil anymore, but the old Resident Evils are of the original survival horror genres, and just those zombies where you have to come in and they could get you at any time, and just a progression that matches you. And then again, as you get older, you find out you like the more story-driven ones. Again, you switch back. There really is something for everybody at every portion of their life, and they're constantly making more and getting them and making them better. And now we're into the indie games, so even the artsy fartsy people are in there and they're having fun with their stuff, and that's good for the industry as a whole, because that's bringing in that artistry and the good artwork, not just the pretty graphics, but I mean like actually genuine good artwork being presented to you on the screen. And again, with the background music, that's something that I find that I just latch onto in any sort of medium that I'm partaking in. Movies, if it could have the greatest story of all time, I don't care if the background music is crappy. I mean, if the score is tried, or it's just a bunch of like pop songs that are recycled or something like that, I generally don't care. One exception: Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, they had their own score, which was pretty decent. It wasn't the best score in the world by a long shot, but it was enough that it didn't like detract from anything, and it kept it moving. But the pop songs and things that they used from like the 80s, when they inject them into that movie, they became like the sixth member of that crew, just because of when they interjected them and how they played them out, and the perfect timing. It's like so cool. It's so awesome. I'm getting off topic again, but when you bring that all together and you get like I said, the more artistic people, then the developers have to go, okay, well, we can't fall behind the artistic folks because they don't know what they're doing about game design and everything else like that. So we're going to hire them. We're going to put that into the video games, and everyone's going to have a better experience on the whole, which is again a part of their allure, because they're not. It's still a young art form. It's still a young medium. It's still developing. It's still growing, and the audience for it is growing as well. It's constantly being bolstered and generating new fandoms and new series and just a whole new way of experiencing human thought and emotion, which is the whole point of art in the first place. And I do consider video games an art form. It's pretty obvious at this point, but they are in every way, they're perhaps the most pure art form, because they are a customizable art form. They're something that every person's experience with it can be 100% unique from anyone else's. I mean, if you go to a library, or well, I guess a library would work. You get a book, you read it through. It's a little bit different, because everyone will read different characters' voices differently, which is why when they make a book into a movie, a lot of people get mad because, well, that's not how I voiced him in my head, or something like that, or a painting, and you have that, you see the colors, and I guess like people are colorblind and they can't see them, but that's in the story. But people can go there and they interact with that and they see it, and it's like, okay, well, this is a wonderful painting, or this is a wonderful photograph, or go to a movie and, oh, this part touched me and this part didn't, and I didn't care about this, and I hate that character, or that villain was really impactful and he really contributed to the story, or this one didn't contribute at all, and it's just, there's a level of it but when you can actually take the consumer of that product and make them a part of the creation of the story, which is what video games do, then you open up a whole new dimension of artistic expression. Because, like, hey, we're going to give you a system, we're going to give you a template, and then we're going to step back and we're going to say, okay, here's where you want to end up, and here's where you're starting. However you get there, that's your call. Good luck. And then they just let it go. And it's so rewarding to be able to find those little back avenues and back ways and different methods other people don't have, because they would never even think of it. I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I actually want to get into like the different the systems and stuff that I played on. But I think I'm gonna end this video off here. I didn't actually get into what I was going to talk about today. Just kind of like setting the base and the groundwork for the next couple of days about why I'm so interested in terms of gameplay and gaming. But yeah, maybe you all have a similar experience, or you think I'm like blowing this completely out of proportion. Oh, but what are you talking about? This isn't art. It's just entertainment. That's all it is. It's just entertainment. Well, I have said before that I refuse to be entertained. So, no, this is art. This is something that not only I am partaking of someone else's creation, but it is something that I am actively able to include my own or input my own sort of creative spin on it. Whether that's, again, I don't want to get too deep into it because there's other things I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of days. So for right now, I'm just going to end it off. Hope you all have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, a like rating down below would be very much appreciated. If you have not, a dislike rating and a nasty comment telling me to, I don't know, you figure it out. This also is an artistic expression which you can actively engage in, because you can tell me to go do terrible things to myself if you don't like what I have to say. So you can also tell me what you want me to talk about. Remember that too. Comments down below, Twitter, Gmail, all sorts of fun stuff. Remember to check out Lieke. Again, there's a link to his channel down below. It's also the Trip Cart Podcast, which I am a member, and Stoic Deviant, his channel where he's doing a bow Let's Play for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. My good friend and fellow host on the Trip Cart Podcast. So thank you all for stopping by. I hope you did enjoy. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.